Hey guys, this is Justin from breakintocre.com, and in today's video, we're going to talk about 10 of the most common commercial real estate buzzwords that you'll hear in the industry today. So if you're preparing for a new job or trying to break into the commercial real estate industry for the first time and want to make sure that you're prepared for day one, definitely stick around for this video. Now, on this channel, we talk about real estate investing careers and real estate financial modeling. So if you're looking to break into the real estate investment industry for the first time, or you're looking to advance your current real estate investing career, definitely make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell to be notified every time I release a new video. Now, when you land your first job in real estate private equity or real estate brokerage, and you sit down for your first big meeting, whether it's a weekly acquisitions pipeline report or an investment committee meeting, it's likely there are going to be some terms thrown around that might not make sense to you because they probably weren't taught to you in a textbook form when you were in college or in grad school. So by the end of this video, you'll know 10 of the most commonly used commercial real estate buzzwords that are used in the industry today, so you're not lost during the interview process or on day one of your next job. So the first buzzword that we'll talk about is the word trade. So in this context, you may hear a real estate investor say that deal traded at a 5.5 cap, or that deal traded at $25 million. And essentially what that means is just that deal sold at that price. But since commercial real estate assets are often traded amongst bigger companies, similar to stocks and bonds, many brokers and investment professionals will talk about a property trading at a specific price or cap rate. Now, the next term that's used that's very similar to trade is retrade. So if you hear someone talking about a retrade, essentially what they're talking about is when a property goes under contract, and then when that property is under contract, the seller renegotiates the deal. So this is not an ideal scenario for a seller or a buyer. So when you hear that an investor retraded another investor, that means that they renegotiated that price after the buyer and seller had already agreed on a purchase price. Now, we've already talked a little bit about cap rates, but what's used often when we're talking about cap rates or interest rates is the phrase basis points. Now, basis points are essentially just 1/100th of 1 percentage point. So you might hear that interest rates moved 50 basis points or 75 basis points, and essentially what that's saying is that interest rates have moved 0.5% or 0.75%. Now, you also might hear this even abbreviated from basis points to something like bips. So you might hear that cap rates move 25 bips or interest rates move 10 bips. And essentially what that means is just 25/100ths of a percentage point and 10/100ths of a percentage point as well. Now, number 4 is a product type or a type of commercial real estate investment property, and that is workforce housing. Especially today when the interest in apartments is so high among investors, workforce housing has become a very widely used buzzword. And what workforce housing generally refers to is housing for people with anywhere from 60 to 80% of the area median income. So these are apartments that you'll usually see in B and C class markets, in secondary and tertiary markets outside of major metropolitan areas where rents are $800, $1,000, or $1,200 for 2 and 3 bedroom units, more cost-effective rental options, but not technically affordable housing by a textbook definition term. Now, term number 5 is for commercial properties, and that is spec space. And spec space is going to be speculatively built space. So this could be a suite on a commercial property for a suite that has not yet been leased up. This could be an entire building, so an office building or a retail property or industrial property where a company is building that on spec. They speculate that the property is going to be leased, but they don't actually have a lease in hand. They don't have a tenant in tow. When they're building the property, that would fall under spec space or spec development in a commercial real estate deal. Now, when investors build this spec space, generally what they'll do is build that to a warm vanilla shell. And that brings me to buzzword number 6, which is warm vanilla shell. Now, a building or a suite in warm vanilla shell condition is essentially a space that is built out but not furnished and doesn't have any sort of fixtures within that space. So you'll likely see finished walls, finished ceilings, finished flooring, and you might have electricity and plumbing and HVAC, but you're not going to see any of the build out that would likely come from a tenant that would lease that space. So the goal is to create a space that a tenant can walk into and immediately make changes to, and they have all of their electricity, plumbing, and HVAC working. They have all of the walls, ceilings, and floors put together, and they're ready to make the customization that they want to that specific suite. Now, speaking of development, number 7 is coming online. Now, coming online refers to commercial property that is currently being developed. So if you're an apartment investor and a broker tells you that there are 2,000 or 3,000 units coming online in this specific area, what that means is that there are 2,000 or 3,000 units being developed in this specific area, which are going to need to be absorbed or leased up by that market. Now, speaking of absorbed, number 8 on this list is absorption. And absorption is really just a measure of how much available space has been leased up in a specific market. Now, you'll often hear the phrases positive net absorption and negative net absorption. So positive net absorption just refers to when more space is leased up in a specific market than is vacated or supplied to the market, and negative net absorption is the exact opposite of that. So when more space is vacated or supplied to the market than is actually leased up. Now, number 9 is another product type, and this is experiential retail. So with the rise of e-commerce, many retailers are getting creative with how to actually get people to their shopping centers. And what experiential retail does is it creates an experience for shoppers that are coming to that shopping center and really giving shoppers a reason to shop in the physical store locations rather than shopping online. So this could be any sort of interactive or technology-based component to a store or a shopping center that just makes it a better experience to come to the store rather than shopping online. So this might be playgrounds for kids or live music, anything that's going to bring consumers to a shopping center or a specific store. Now, speaking of bringing consumers to a specific store, number 10 is activation. So something you may hear in commercial real estate is that a company is going to buy maybe a 10-story office building and they're planning to activate the ground floor. And usually what that means is they're planning to add something to that ground floor. Whether it's signing a new lease, so it may be a retailer like a coffee shop that can drive traffic to that specific building, or it may be just additional amenities that can be used by those office users. Activating the ground floor of high-rise buildings has become a very popular strategy to maximize revenue at a property. So there you have it. Those are 10 of the most commonly used commercial real estate buzzwords that you'll hear used in the industry today. Now, if you're looking to break into the commercial real estate industry or take the next step in your real estate investing career, one of the most valuable skill sets that you can learn is real estate financial modeling. So what I've done is put together a free real estate financial modeling crash course, and you can grab that in the description below. This is the same foundational skill set that I've taught over 15,000 of my students at this point to help them land jobs at top real estate private equity and brokerage firms and do their first deals on their own. Now, if you like this video, please let me know by hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this with anyone else who might find this helpful. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.